The invincible Bowie is back. Yes, the avant-garde Bowie, the one who stands on the edge and risks the jump. David is experimenting again, and the fruit of his creative labor this time is a new album with Brian Eno called Outside. Now, Bowie and Eno have been friends and collaborators since the early atmospheric days of Low and Heroes in the late 70s. And when they were in the studio this time, they came up with a computer program of randomizing and rearranging the lyrics inspired by William Burroughs' cut-and-paste creative method. Taking a cue from that methodology, Avi fed his own brilliant interview with Bowie into our deranged new music computer, and this is what came out.
Art should be there to be used. The unconscious kind of takes over. Ball of string, the sun, woman's breasts, the cross and the glass of wine and the wafer, confusion, fragmentation. That's what I really enjoy. A piece of theatre. I love that T-shirt, by the way. Look at all this that happens, like when you're at 50, you know. What does it mean, though? Juxtapositions give you further insights into our world. Hello, darling. Rock God's home. Is this the end of history? What are we going to have for breakfast?
When you absolutely randomize your thoughts and images, you're forsaking any intentional meaning and opting for accidental meaning.
That happens a lot. If you have two things visually in front of you, the mind will always try and make a connection between those two things. It has such a lot to do with what's called conceptual art. You put a ball of string and a piece of broken glass. The mind will try and find some kind of interrelationship between those two things. And that's what I find fascinating. And that's the area of work that's kind of my little area, and that's what I really enjoy. And that's kind of what the computer does. It gives you these very strange, odd juxtapositions.
Let me throw two things that are easy to relate at you and ask you to make a connection.
No. Go on.
Well, millennium
Yeah.
and self-mutilation.
Well, yeah, unfortunately, I've got a real rationale for that, which doesn't, I can't put that
Come on out with it.
I can't put that into some kind of stream of consciousness place because I thought about it too much. The drift in there is somewhere between not wishing to explore the outside world anymore, as it seems to be too complex, but relating to the body itself and the physicality of one's existence as the new medium, along with glass and stone and paint and wood, that flesh and has become almost a new kind of canvas for so many of the new artists. There's a kind of barely remembered neo-paganism, which is telling us that if we don't appease the gods before the year 2000, we'll never get through to January the 1st, you know, which is, it's going to be such a shock when we wake up on January the 1st, and the biggest problem will be, you know, what we're going to have for breakfast, you know, it's going to be such a downer.
You seem to absolutely thrive on this. On confusion, chaos, and the panic of millennialism.
Yeah, in a way, I mean, it's my, in a way, it's my fortune that I do I just find that confusion and that kind of fragmentation really a more accurate picture of our universe. The Ball of String, Revolution number 9, universe. I've always been a fan of William Burroughs.
Thanksgiving Day, November 28th, 1986. Thanks for the wild turkey and passenger pigeons destined to be shit out through wholesome American guts.
Burroughs particularly touched me because it's the way he cut up the world and reassembled it. Just felt, I felt more comfortable in that environment, that kind of chaos.
This chaos is killing me.
Thing go along with that. Boom, 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 boom. That would be nice.
This chaos is killing me.
That program needs to stop.
Steve, the ambient noise against the drums at the very end on those last 8 beats.
It's in loops.
Make it very
It's in the
visible.
loops.
Here we go. This chaos is killing me.
The filthy lesson in question is the fact that life is finite. That realization, when it comes usually later in life, can either be really a daunting prospect, or it makes things a lot clearer. Unfortunately for me, I see it without a sense of unease, and for me, knowing that I've got a finite length of time on Earth actually clarifies things and makes me feel quite buoyant. The key word, change, made so much sense that you know, your skin, look at all this that happens, like when you're at 50, you know. It's like, this shit happens, you know. And the idea that things just remain static, it is such a piece of theatre.
A lot of people who were really crazy about your earlier music,
Yeah.
when you made Let's Dance and the albums that followed,
Yeah,
just went like, what was that all about?
Yeah.
Do you have any perspective
Well,
on
I
that
must
now?
say, yes, sure. I mean, for me, I think I played to the gallery after Let's Dance, 2 albums too many. And it produced immense feelings of dissatisfaction for me as an artist. And I kind of clawed my way through the rest of the 80s, feeling pretty much out of sync with it.
Did you get tired of being a musical, a rock god cult hero that had nothing to show for it? I mean, was that what that descent into commercialism was
the
about?
rock god thing is something that, you know, you hold on to desperately for, you know, whatever else you're doing, if you're an artist or something like that. But I mean, remember, you know, priorities are rock god, artist. It is, because rock god is important, so, hello darling, rock god's home. So she could like put the dinner on, feed the rock god, you know. Very strange, odd juxtaposition. The key word, change. Dun 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 dun. Gratuitous sex and violence. The mind will always try and make a connection between those two things. We got that going for us. I think that's a troubled mind.